Hare Krishna everyone, thank you for joining. Let's start with Radha Madhav. Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunj Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunj Bihari Jai Gopi Janavallabha Jai Gira Vardhari Jai Gopi Janavallabha Jai Gira Vardhari Shodanandan Vraj Jana Ranjana Shodanandan Vraj Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunj Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunj Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Agyan Timridhasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmiritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Samrupa Kadameyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavscha Shri Rupam Sagrijatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvetam Savadutam Krishna Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kant Radha Kant Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavan Eshwari Rishabhanu Sutta Devi Paranmami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatu Brihascha Kirpa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo 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 Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Mukham Kroti Vachalam Pangum Langyate Garim Yat Kirpatham Ham Vande Shri Gurun Tirtharanam Paramananda Madham Shritaneshram Hari Om Tassat Narayam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Madhuriyat Nashta Presha Ubadreshu Nityam Bhagavata-Sevayā Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Neshtaki. Okay, so thank you so much for joining, and where were we last time? Last time when we started just chapter 2, Sukadeva Goswami, he congratulated Maharaj Parikshit for his questions, and there was a comparison between grehastas, which hopefully we are, and grehmedis, myths. And this comparison of the present civilization, and what is actual Vedic civilization, the difference between the two. And we talk about old age, that even if your body is no longer that functional, you can't run around or have the energy like you used to, the mind is still active, and whether it's with hearing aid or just your own ears, you can still hear, and that's also a devotional service. So we still have the mind's activity and the ears activity, which can be applied in the Lord's service. Now, verse 4. Okay. Deha patya klatri dishav artam sen yeshav astavsav api tesham paramato nidnam pashyan api na pashyati. So deha is the body, apatya children, kalatra wife, dishu and in everything in relation to them, atam own, sen yeshu fighting soldiers, astasu fallible, api in spite of, tesham of all of them, paramataha to attached, nidhanam destruction, pashyan having been experienced, api although does not, na pashyati see it. So persons devoid of Atam Tattva do not inquire into the problems of life, being too attached to the fallible soldiers like the body, children and wife. These three things we are most attached to in our lives: our own body, our children, and the mother of our children. Although sufficiently experienced, they still don't see the inevitable destruction. This material body is called the world of death. Every living being, beginning from Brahma, whose duration of life is some thousands or millions of years, down to the germs who live for a few seconds only, is struggling for existence. Therefore, this life is a sort of fight with material nature, which imposes death upon all. In the human form of life, a living being is competent enough to come to an understanding of this great struggle for existence, but being too attached to family members, society, country, etc., he wants to win over the invincible material nature by the aid of bodily strength, children, wife, relative, etc. Although he is sufficiently experienced in the matter by dint of past experience and previous examples of his deceased predecessors, he doesn't see that the so-called fighting soldiers like children, relatives, society members and countrymen are all fallible in the great struggle. One should examine the fact that his father or his father's father has already died, and that he himself is therefore also sure to die. And similarly, his children, who are the would-be fathers of the children, will also die in due course. No one will survive in this struggle with material nature. The history of human society definitely proves it. Yet, the foolish people still suggest that in the future they will be able to live perpetually with the help of material science. This poor fund of knowledge exhibited by human society is certainly misleading, and it is all due to ignoring the constitution of the living soul. This material world exists only as a dream due to our attachment to it. Otherwise, the living soul is always different from the material nature. The great ocean of material nature is tossing with the waves of time, and the so-called living conditions are something like forming bubbles which appear before us as bodily self, wife, children, society, countrymen, etc. Due to lack of knowledge of self, We become victimized by the force of ignorance and thus spoil the valuable energy of human life in a vain search after permanent living conditions which are impossible in this material world. Our friends, relatives, and so called wives and children are not only fallible but also bewildered by the outward glamour of material existence. As such, they cannot save us. Still, we think that we are safe within the orbit of family, society, or country. The whole materialistic advancement of human civilization is like the decoration of a dead body. Everyone is a dead body flapping only for a few days, and yet all the energy of human life is being wasted in the decoration of this dead body. Shukdev Goswami is pointing out the duty of the human being after showing the actual position of bewildered human activities. Persons who are devoid of the knowledge of Atma Tattva are misguided, but those who are devotees of the Lord and have perfect realization of transcendental knowledge are not bewildered. Yeah. So, most people think the solution to human life, old age, disease, everything lies in like nowadays in AI and in technology. Building the latest technology can save mankind, can unprogram the program of birth, death, well, at least death and old age. They think they'll find the formula that will scramble that, that genetic makeup to stop people getting old. But it's you might delay things, but it's inevitable that it won't be, permanent. There is not a permanent solution to these things. Material is meant to eventually be destroyed. With time, everything is devoured. You cannot change the laws of God. You can try and delay things, but you cannot avoid them. But the scientists and people like Elon Musk, they think they have solutions, and he's making a lot of money out of it by providing still temporary solutions to things. And we'll find out in a good time that people are bewildered, that they think that they can play God, but there's only one God and there's no other God. So this world of death, so we tend to have our head in the sand like an ostrich chased by a tiger. It puts his head in a hole thinking it's now safe. So we might resort to some kind of medication or some technology, thinking now we are safe, but we're not safe. We can achieve a permanent living conditions, but we are looking in the wrong place. People trying to prolong the age want to be frozen in time, etc. So we trust these scientists, these people, these entrepreneurs. They're going to provide solutions for us, but we're looking in the wrong place and wasting our time, basically. Tasmad Bharat Sarvatma Bhagwan Ishvaro Hari Shritavya Kritita Avyascha Smartavyas Checheta Bhayam. So Tasmat, for this reason, Bharat, O descendant of Bharat, Sarvatma, the super soul, Bhagwan, the personal Godhead, Ishvara, the controller, Hari, the Lord, who waxes all miseries, Shrutavya is to be heard, Kritavya, to be glorified, Cha also, Smartavya, to be remembered, Cha and Ishita, Ichita, of one who desires, Abhyam, freedom. O descendant of King Bharat, one who desires to be free from all miseries must hear about glorify and also remember the personality of Godhead, who is the super soul, the controller, and the savior from all miseries. So in the previous verse, Sri Shukadeva Goswami has described how the foolish material attached men are wasting their valuable time in the improvement of material conditions of life by sleeping, indulging in sex life, developing economic conditions, and maintaining a band of relatives who are to be vanquished in the air of oblivion. Being engaged in all these materialistic activities, the living soul entangles himself in the cycle of the law of fruitive actions. This entails the chain of birth and death in the 8.4, it says, 8.4 million species of life, the aquatics, the vegetables, the reptiles, the birds, the beasts, the uncivilized man, and then again the human form. So they all living entities, the vegetables, the reptiles, the birds, the beasts, even vegetables and flowers, they're all living entities. Without life, they would not survive. So we go through all this cycle. And so it's everybody eating everybody else, but we eating things, that Krishna accepts, or things with lower consciousness, rather than eating, birds and animals. And people eat reptiles as well, which is a chance for getting out of the cycle of fruitive action. Therefore, if one desires freedom from all this vicious circle, then one must cease to act as a karmi or enjoyer of the results of one's own work, good or bad. One should not do anything, either good or bad, on his own account, but must execute everything on behalf of the Supreme Lord, the ultimate proprietor of everything that be. This process of doing work is recommended in the Bhagavad-Gita 9.27, also where instruction is given for working on the Lord's account. Therefore, one should first of all hear about the Lord. When one has perfectly and scrutinizingly heard, one must glorify his acts and deeds, and thus it will become possible to remember constantly the transcendental nature of the Lord. Hearing about and glorifying the Lord are identical with the transcendental nature of the Lord, and by so doing, one will be always in the association of the Lord. This brings freedom from all sorts of fear. So these are the formulas, the key, the solutions. The Lord is the super soul, Paramatma, present in the hearts of all living beings, and thus by the above hearing and glorifying process, the Lord invites the association of all in His creation. This process of hearing about and glorifying the Lord is applicable for everyone, so not just a few, however he may be, and it will lead one to the ultimate success in everything in which one may be engaged by providence. There are many classes of human beings: the fruitive workers, the empiric philosophers, the mystic yogis, and ultimately the unalloyed devotees. She is the highest position. For all of them, one and the same process is applicable for achieving the desired success. Everyone wants to be free from all kinds of fear, and everyone wants the fullest extent of happiness in life. The perfect process for achieving this here and now is recommended in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is uttered by such a great authority as Srila Shukadeva Goswami. By hearing about and glorifying the Lord, all the person's activities become molded into spiritual activities, and thus all conceptions of material desire, miseries become completely vanquished. So basically, we want to get out of this material life, this material body, and because only spiritual beings, spiritual planets, and spiritual processes, only they are eternal, they are permanent. We cannot change material things. We are here in the material world. It's a temporary place, right? And it's like it's destroyed and it's created, destroyed, created. This is in a cyclic process, and time. When the creation is met, this canto is about creation. So when when material world is created, time is also activated in that. So the time is controlling everything. So how can, and Krishna says, Kalasmi, I am time. And people think they can challenge the Lord. That means they think they are God, right? They start thinking they're God. And anyone who has ever in history thought he was God has vanquished, has died, usually in a bad way. Take Ravan or Kansa, Hiranyakashipu, and any, the ones we know about. And then there's others in history. There's kings, in the Western world, and you got the Julius Caesars and all that. They start believing that they are, that they are above God, or they are God, equal to. So, it doesn't end well for those people. So really, we have to. We cannot. Material world is meant to, by time, is meant to vanquish eventually. It cannot be permanent. It's not meant to be permanent, and it's not possible to be permanent. So the eternity and everything, the soul is eternal because that's spiritual, and the soul doesn't even belong here. It belongs in the spiritual world, because that's where the same quality is going on. We just been given this material body so we can live in this material world. It's not really our permanent body. It's not our spiritual body that we have. We get a spiritual body back when we go to the spiritual world. So we need to be convinced that we are caught in a vicious cycle of millions and billions of births. This is what's happening, and they're all material. If we are not convinced that, we are not going to do anything about it. So first we have to be convinced, then you get enthusiastic to do something about it. When we are convinced, we once and for all try to solve this problem. Srila Prabhupada mentioned that Krishna is inviting us back home in the spiritual world. Excuse me. Not everyone will be convinced of that. Bahunam janmanamante Gyanvan Mamprapate. So even the Gyanis, the people with a lot of knowledge, who acquire knowledge, even it takes them many, many lifetimes to understand that Vasudeva Sarvamiti, Sa Mahatma Sudurlubha. It takes a lot of births to understand that Vasudev, the son of Vasudev, is the Lord, is the Master. Yeah, it can take many lifetimes to do that. And 6. Etavan sankhya yog bhayam swadharma pranishitaha shataya swadharma pranishitaya janma labha prapumsam ant Narayan smritihi. So etavan, all these, sankhya, complete knowledge of matter and spirit, yoga bhayam, knowledge of mystic power, swadharma, particular occupational duty, pranishthaya, by full perception, janam, birth, labha, gain, parha, the supreme, pumsam, of a person, ante, at the end, Narayan, the personal Godhead, smriti, remembrance. The highest perfection of human life achieved either by complete knowledge of matter and spirit, by practice of mystic powers, or by perfect discharge of occupation duty, is to remember the personal Godhead at the end of life. So this is Sukadeva Goswami explaining to Maharaj Parikshit all these, the truths of life, that what we think and what is two different things. Narayan is a transcendental personality Godhead, beyond the material creation. Everything that is created, sustained, and at the end annihilated is within the compass of the Mahatattva, material principle, and is known as the material world. So Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam talks about Narayan a lot, because in the earlier yugas, Narayan was the worshipful deity, but Narayan is the 7th expansion of Krishna. So you think about it, that even Narayan is on the 7th level, to the Supreme Personality Godhead. This expansion. Everything that is created, sustained at the end of and in highlighted is within the compass of Mahatattva, material principle, and is known as the material world. The existence of Narayan or the Personality Godhead is not within the jurisdiction of this Mahatattva, and as such the name, form, attribute, etc. of Narayan are beyond the jurisdiction of the material world. By the speculation of empiric philosophy, which discerns matter from spirit, or by cultivation of mystic powers, which ultimately helps the performer to reach any planet of the universe or beyond the universe, or by discharge of religious duties, one can achieve the highest perfection, provided one is able to reach the stage of Narayan Smriti, or constant remembrance of the Personality Godhead. This is possible only by the association of a pure devotee, who can give a finishing touch to the transcendental activities of all jnanis, yogis or karmis. In terms of prescribed duties defined in the scriptures, there are many historical instances of the achievement of spiritual perfection, such as that of the Sankadi Rishis, or the 9 celebrated Yogindras, who attained perfection only after being situated in the devotional service of the Lord. None of the devotees of the Lord ever deviated from the path of devotional service by taking to other methods as adopted by the Jnanis or Yogis. So devotional service, not by speculation or just sitting there, you will not get that perfection. Everyone is anxious to achieve the highest perfection of his particular activity, and it is indicated herein that such perfection is Narayan Smriti, for which everyone must endeavor his best. In other words, life should be molded in such a manner that one is able to progressively remember the Personal Godhead in every step of life. So this is 6. So highest perfection life is to remember Krishna at end of life. Well, in fact, always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. We have Srila Prabhupada to give us the finishing touches. We have to mold our own life. Everyone has to mold their own life using the intelligence and the skills they have. Using the scripture knowledge, increase our devotional service. We should be improving day by day, increasing our remembrance day by day. We do this in every step of life because we don't know what the future holds. So we push ourselves in devotional service, in our offering to the Lord. We push ourselves in terms of quantity and in quality as well. So quantity alone is not enough, that you're doing a lot of services. How well are you doing the services? Are they helping you to remember Krishna, or are you doing it for some other purpose? What are we really after? And I mean, to be honest, we just, most of us, we get, the weeds growing. We after fame. We tend to be after, people praise. We want praise from people. That seems to be our the catalyst that drives us. But really, it should be, to please Krishna. Are we? We should be focused on. It's not focused on how many people think I'm doing a really good job, or how many people praise me today. It's not about that. It's about, is Krishna pleased with my service? Do I get the, because when Krishna is pleased, we get nice, we get bliss. We feel it. We can feel that Krishna is happy with what we are doing. So the focus should be on Krishna, not on ourselves, because this is what we tend to do. We focus on ourselves. That I'm really going high now. I'm getting big services, and everybody thinks I'm really great now. So so I must be great. So it's like that, but it's not. all services are equal, and is, how much quality of service you're doing and why are you doing that service is very important. Even as we mentioned, that even going back to Godhead, that if you want to go back to Godhead to escape this cycle, which will happen anyway, but that should not be the motivation that you want to escape life or material life. You want to escape people. That's why you want to go to spiritual world. Well, you can escape material life, but you will not escape people because there are people up there as well, and there's a lot of entangling goes on in the spiritual world as well. But soul in the service of Krishna is told to please him. It's slightly different. Everybody's supporting each other as well to please Krishna. But you have to deal with people wherever you go, whether it's in the material world or the spiritual world, because that's what that's what makes it what it is. Even Krishna, needs living entities. He is the highest living entity. We are minute living entities. But end of the day, it's the entities, it's the people make the material world, and it's the people make the spiritual world. Without people, what would the spiritual world be? Even the kalpa vriksh and the Denu cows, they are also living entities. Everything is made of living entities. Even a blade of grass in the spiritual world is a living entity. So living entities are everywhere. You cannot escape. If you think we're going to escape people and escape interactions, then there is no escape. Basically, you cannot escape. You have to just learn to deal with situations, deal with people, and build a tolerance. Building tolerance is also our part of our tapasya. Very, very important that we can build tolerance. That's on top of the list. T for tapasya, T for tolerance. So tolerance is very, very important, and we have to practice doing that. So thank you so much, and very nice explanation by Srila Prabhupada. And so Sukadeva Swami is explaining the highest perfection of human life. So let's see, let's discuss. Hare Krishna. Okay, Hare Krishna Purnikaksha Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much. Such a nice verses these are. The highest perfection of life, human life, is to remember the Supreme Personality of God at the end of life. And no one is invincible in this material world. However you try, one should die. That's a material nature. Like I heard, like Michael Johnson, Michael Jackson. Actually, he engaged 10 best doctors of the world uh, to keep him active and to bend his body like anything, whatever he want. But ultimately, he died at the age of 60 plus only. He could not even survive beyond that. Even though he has got 10 best doctors with him all the time. So, no one is invincible here. We were discussing Bhagavatam on Wednesday. So, there, um, like Kartaviri Arjun, who got 1,000 arms, he was defeated by um, Jamadagni. And he defeated Ravana, who seems to be like a powerful king, powerful demon. And and ultimately, Parshram was defeated. I mean, in the sense like Parshram accepted defeat at the from Bhishma Dev. Bhishma Dev defeated by Arjuna. Arjuna defeated by very dacoits when at the end of the life, and he could realize that it's only because of Krishna's presence he could win the battle. He could win everything, anything. All auspicious things came only because of the Lord. That he could remember when Krishna departed. He could remember all the incident in his life is only because of the presence of the Lord. So ultimately, remembering the Lord at the end of life, that is more important. That is the main goal. And for that, we need to constantly hear and glorify the Lord. So, in short, like these are like Chatusloki Bhagavad Gita, like Aham Sarva Supravo, Machita Madkata Prana, Tesham Satujuktanam, Tesham Evan Kampartham. So all these four, I mean, this verse is, I think it's like a summation of all these four verses. Like, is creation is by Krishna, and devotees always engage in talking about Krishna. And when you engage in talking about Krishna, Krishna gives you knowledge by which you can come to Him. And that is why, that is how you can glorify the Lord, remember the Lord. Remember the Lord doesn't mean that, I mean, association of Lord doesn't mean that having a physical association, but even in the memory of remembering the Lord all the time, that is association. That's what Srila Prabhupada said. Don't think that I'm not physically available with you. We are all connected through one network, which is Krishna. Like, Prabhupada explained this in one of his class, that multiple people are connected through the internet. I mean, we connected through internet. The same way through Krishna, we are all connected. So nobody is missing. Anyway, everybody is available through Krishna. Only Krishna keeping the center, Krishna in the center. We are all united as well. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you. Yeah, it's a very good point, Prabhu. Uh, where are we? Kiran Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yes, you can have the best physicians and the doctors in the world, but if your mind and your heart and soul is not properly in tune with the divine will, then you can never have all the pills which will save you, and you can never have all the surgery in the world which will give you a nose job and eternal youth. And people have tried, and this is part of the zombie apocalypse we live in. We are surrounded by fallible soldiers. The body is fallible. The wife is fallible. The children are fallible. And these soldiers will one day succumb to old age, death, and disease. Many people write songs, I want to live forever. Nobody does. And I think we've been given this opportunity to realize the reality of our mortality. We're only here for a twinkle of an eye. And we have to make the most of this opportunity, that this Brahma's creation looks outwardly so sublime, but it is a prison. And all the escape routes have been given to us. The 7 gates have been given to us to show how to get out of it. But still, we are so caught up in the preoccupation of decorating our bodies, our houses, our cars, our lives, plastic surgery, you name it, the next iPhone. It's all part of the world of AI and social media. Very temporary. And these temporary things will only give us transitory, impermanent, temporary gratification. Foolish people that as humans we are. We've been given this human birth and we cannot take advantage of it. The only way is, as it says, there has to be a big paradigm change in our lives. That paradigm change is to be about being devoted to Krishna, being devoted to bhakti, being in the presence and the association of the other devotees, because that is what will give us the greatest opportunities for liberation. Fame and gain is only temporary, but fame and gain without pain is only temporary. To be a preacher, of course, we have to impart that knowledge in a very clinical, critical way. But it should not be about your ego. It should not be about self, and how am I being seen by others. It should be the Shastra that is being imparted to the others. It's not about the quantity, it's about the quality of the information that is embedded deeply into the hearts and minds and souls of those people who are seeking a different way in this mundane world. And hence this chapter is about finding divinity in everything around us and within each one of us and within our hearts and souls. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. That's right. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah, it's about find divinity. We're looking for materials. We're looking for solving material problems with material solutions. As we've said before, that material solutions cannot solve material problems. They can only be solved by spiritual solutions. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Okay. Hina Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Oh, thank you so much, Prabhu. Some very nice points have been made so far. So just a few things to add. The earlier verses, it was pointed out how it's almost like people in general don't like to think about death, despite it being all around us, despite us seeing loved ones dying around us. People can be very short-sighted. But the reality is that no one gets out of this material universe alive. We all have to leave this temporary body. And yeah, I think it's all, those that have faith will delve into, and question this life and work out what it's all about. But there's really, these verses also clearly point out that the only way to be free from the miseries of birth and death, this cycle of birth and death, is to connect with the Lord, is to devote your life to his service and make him your life and soul, in essence. I was also thinking about how Krishna created us, created living entities for his pleasure. Yet here we are trying to be independent, we're just trying to be controllers of our own worlds. And try and satisfy ourselves, but ultimately we can't be happy without him, without the Lord in our life. We're almost like parts, like spare parts, like screws or nails or something like that. So on our own, although yes, we have got value, we're never going to really be fulfilled unless we are connected to the Lord. And ultimately we belong to another world. This material world is a reflection of the spiritual world, as we read in chapter 15 Bhagavad-Gita, and that ultimately is our real home. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Okay. Praveen Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
You, Mataji?
Yes, yeah, very nice verses. And it just again comes to, importance of devotional service, how important it is, we have to be in constant remembrance of the Lord. Whatever we do, we are doing to serve the Lord. And importance of Atma Tattva as well to understand, so we can get out of this illusion that we are this body, and how we have to connect and get out of this cycle of birth and death. Otherwise we'll be just going in this cycle of 8.4 million species, even taken from Brahma. Everyone who takes birth has to die. And like Mataji said, like we see things happening, everyone dying. But I remember when I lost my sister, older sister, and my thing was like, we've heard of these things happening, but I never thought it will happen to me. So death is the reality. As even before we take birth, death is fixed when we are going to die. So we just need to understand, this material world is a temporary place. So we're just practicing how to serve Krishna like we were doing before. So we don't want to use our free will to enjoy ourselves. Don't want to get entangled in the material, sense gratification. And I feel like devotional service, it just brings all the good qualities in you and make you human. It's only when we are not engaged in devotional service we are not human, we're full of jealousy, anger, greed. But once you're engaged in devotional service, you understand what is important, and Krishna instill all these good qualities in you, and you get rid of all your vices. So thank you so much. Yes. So, and the response to suffering, like in the fifth verse, it says, is hearing, glorifying, and remembering the Lord. So more we hear, more we glorify, we are on the right path. And happy Purushottam Mass. Sorry, I could not join for some few weeks, but I've been listening to the classes. Yes, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Yeah. We cannot get out of this cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease with material intelligence. You have to use spiritual intelligence. Hiranyakashipu, his pastimes are eternal, so they're obviously taking place again and again, and in different universes as well, and all that. So these pastimes go on, and sometimes Hiranyakashipu, when he asks for a boon from Brahma, he's obviously saying, I will not die outside or inside in the day or the night by animal or human. All these things he's asking. And sometimes he even asks that I should not die in the 12 months of the year. So he thought he covered everything. But he forgot there's a Purushottam month, which is extra month. So it's mentioned that sometimes he dies in the extra month so his wish is fulfilled that he didn't die in the 12 months, he died in the extra month. So Krishna has he has solution for everything, and he has arranged that we die in this material world. This material world has to be destroyed, and that it will be with we cannot use material intelligence think we can fool him. So he's got a solution all our tricks. So like that. So Purushottam is very important. So even Hiranyakashipu gets fooled by that. Thank you, Mataji.
And also, like I was talking about the fallible, that we depend on our family, and husband or wife. And then I thought, yes, only infallible, who is the Supreme Lord. He is the only one who can protect us. Nobody else can give us the protection. And like you said, we don't have to worry where we go. As long as we are remembering and serving Krishna, it doesn't matter, where we end up. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Anil. Thank you. Ajay Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Yes, it is always important to remember Krishna. Forgetfulness is the real issue. Sometimes we can be harsh on ourselves in terms that the reason we do forget is because we have had so many lifetimes which we're unaware of. So that forgetfulness is kind of embedded in that sense. It's hard. You have to almost snap out of it, take it to the point where when you do forget Krishna, you have to like a natural switch where you come back to Krishna. Sometimes you have to chastise yourself. Sometimes you have to try to understand why you're forgetting Krishna. Is it because, what is that weakness there? Is some Krishna maybe trying to tell you something? Perhaps you need to work on particular way you're worshipping or way you're behaving with the devotees, or maybe you need to just try to, maybe whatever you're currently doing right now is not enough. You reach a certain level, but if you're going to push on beyond that, then you have to raise your level as such. Yes, that is always the issue that forget. Because we know Krishna gives us remembrance, he also gives us forgetfulness as well. We have to keep asking Krishna, and there has to be some desire there from us as well to actually want to advance in our devotional service, actually want to serve other devotees, because that's how we understand it. If we want to please Krishna, we please the devotees. It can be one of those situations where sometimes you wonder why this is happening to you, but it's good it's happening to you because, well, I think like you mentioned earlier on, there's also in the spiritual world, there's also sometimes conflict as well. There are sometimes issues, but it's there the mindset is to serve Krishna. They don't forget that. There's no forgetfulness there in terms of what is the main point of what everything's happening. we need to develop that sort of that sort of focus, that sort of love for Krishna. That's probably the main thing, really. That we need to develop love for Krishna. When the love is there, then you will do whatever Krishna wants. There's nothing too much. You see with all these great devotees who travel around the world, done amazing devotional service. Just nothing's too much. It's, if anything, they're upset if they don't get more, chance to do more bhakti. That's that inspiration that we can take. That if we can develop that mindset, then we can also, we will please Krishna, please devotees, and that's how we get we get shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna by taking shelter of the lotus feet of the devotees. Very well.
Haribol, yeah, absolutely correct. Yeah, so it's brilliant, and thank you all so much for your inputs. And it's once again a beautiful start to Canto 2. So much to learn, so much to remember, and as we keep learning, we keep remembering, repeating things. And Sukdev Goswami is taking driving seat now. He's going to take us on this journey, and really looking forward to that. So we'll catch up again on Monday, and we'll continue from verse 7. So
Mataji not there, Prabhuji.
do you want to speak? Okay, I think yes.
Yeah, Hare Krishna everyone, pranams to all of you. Yes, I'll be just repeating what you have all said, and that this life is all about preparation, like Bhagavad-Gita tells us, and the final exam is to go and serve Krishna. And the very good point made today is that we cannot escape what we want to escape from this material world. We think that after this material world there'll be no envy, there'll be no rivalry, there'll be no disturbance of the mind. We'll be free in our spiritual bodies when we'll be with Krishna. But all this will be there, but this will be for a higher cause, which is for the service of Krishna. So whatever we are doing at the moment, it is for ourselves, and in the other world, I've learned today, it is all for Krishna. So we can just look into ourselves that we are very, very far away from that position. So let's pray to Krishna that, and pray to Srila Prabhupada, like Srila Prabhupada says, that none of us has got any qualities, any abilities. He is provided us with the scriptural knowledge, and he is going to take us. So that is the only prayer that Krishna, that yes, Prabhupada, please do that for us. When we look at ourselves, we have got no quality, no merit to enter into the service of Lord Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, okay, thank you so much. Granthara Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande. Hari. Thank you all so much. Catch up Monday.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.